And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Boy, you know what? I say this every day. Have we got a show for you today? We have got a terrific show for you today. Hold on to your seats. Sit down. Get comfortable. It's going to be a packed show for you with lots of information and a lot of entertainment. But first off, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now, that sounds hot. It sounds beautiful, but I'm going to tell you, we are looking to get some rain in the forecast, so we'll see what happens a bit later on. There's none for today in any event. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, we do have some special segments today, as I mentioned before, and I'm going to present two more tax-saving segments, and the latest way to defer your taxes on real estate and new baby loopholes. We're going to deal with both of those things. And our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, is going to be with us, and we'll be talking about new wireless technology, and I'm sure that he's got a lot of things that he wants to talk about. Before we do that, though, let's get into the news. This is an abbreviated version of the news. We can give you about 10 items here that let you know what's going on. And then we'll get a little bit more in depth. This is the 10 things that you need to know for today, Wednesday. Your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. And first up, frontrunners sweep to a victory in New York. Trump in his home state bounces back from a difficult stretch in the Republican campaign, while Clinton pushes closer to locking up the Democratic nomination. Well, federal judge approves the Ferguson Pact. The deal with the U.S. Justice Department aims to improve policing and courts in the St. Louis suburb where Michael Brown was killed. And an appeals court rules for transgender teen. A Virginia high school discriminated against 16-year-old Gavin Grimm by forbidding him from using the boys' restroom. The three-judge federal panel oh, wow, excuse me. The three-judge panel declares that there was that discrimination. And Fidel Castro gives farewell speech to Cuba's Communist Party. The revolutionary leader tells party members he is nearing the end of his life and exhorts them to help his ideas survive. And where fighting is intensifying, despite ceasefire. The stepped-up conflict in Syria jeopardizes peace talks in Geneva aimed at ending the 5-year civil war. And the Associated Press investigation shines the light on atrocities, rapes and killings of children and the disabled 3 decades ago at a South Korean institution for so-called vagrants were much more vicious and widespread than previously realized. Well, why Intel is cutting 12,000 jobs, 11% of its workforce. The giant chip maker makes the announcement as an extended slide in global PC sales, shows no sign of leveling off. And no let-up in global warmth. Earth not only set a record for heat in March, but it was the 11th straight month for record heat, U.S. government meteorologists say. You know, Sean Lefebvre and I talked about that yesterday. And who's leaving live with Kelly and Michael? Yep, Michael Strahan is being shifted from the daily talk show that he co-hosts with Kelly Ripa to work full-time on ABC's Good Morning America. And then finally, Johnny Manziel loses his agent. Drew Rosenhaus follows through on his vow to withdraw his representation unless the troubled quarterback seeks help. Well, it makes sense to me. Now, let's get into a little bit more in-depth stuff. First off, Clinton close to the nomination prize, and Trump strengthens his hand. Hillary Clinton, the nearly unstoppable Democrat, and Republican frontrunner Donald Trump accelerated today toward Northeast primaries on an increasingly direct path to presidential nominations after trouncing party challengers in New York. Clinton, now 81% of the way toward clinching the Democratic nomination that eluded her 8 years ago, can lose every remaining contest and still prevail. Her sweeping victory in the New York primary called into question the durability of Bernie Sanders' rival campaign and left him with severely limited options for overtaking her. While Trump strengthened his hand, he is still far from in the clear. Trump has focused heavily on clinching the Republican nomination through voters balloting in several state primaries, thus avoiding a contested national convention in Cleveland in July. The businessman's win in his home state keeps him on a path to scoring or securing the 1,237 delegates that he needs, though he'll have to perform well in the round of primaries in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware next Tuesday, and in California's huge contest on June the 7th. You know what? His chief rival, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, has no mathematical path to getting the nomination through primary voting, but he sees a window to snatch the nomination from Trump at the convention, and his campaign is working feverishly to line up delegates who would support him if Trump fails to prevail on his first ballot. Boy, there's a lot going on here. So, you know what? We'll see what actually happens when the dust clears, I think, probably. Anyway, 3 officials are charged in the Flint water crisis, and more arrests are seen. And you know what? I don't understand why this is not getting a lot more press than it really is. The Flint water crisis became a criminal case today when 2 state regulators and a city employee were charged with official misconduct, evidence tampering, and other offenses over the lead contamination that alarmed the company or country and brought cries of racism. This is a road back to restoring faith and confidence in all Michigan families in their government. State Attorney General Bill Schuett said in announcing the first charges to come out the disaster, blamed on a series of bad decisions by bureaucrats and political leaders. He warned there will be more charges that I can guarantee, he added, no one is off the table. You know what? About time, if you think about it, for nearly 18 months, the poor minority black city of 100,000 used the Flint River for tap water as a way to save money, a decision made by a state-appointed emergency manager while a new pipeline was under construction. But the water wasn't treated to control corrosion. The result? Lead was released from aging pipes and fixtures as water flowed into the homes and businesses. Wow. You know what? And the governor needs to be taken to task for this. He's covered it up as much as anyone else has. It's just sickening when you think about it. Well, up to 500 are feared dead in the Mediterranean shipwreck last week. As many as 500 people were feared dead after a shipwreck last week in Mediterranean Sea. 2 international groups said today, describing survivors' accounts of panicked passengers who desperately tried to stay afloat by jumping between vessels. The disaster happened in waters between Italy and Libya, based on accounts from 41 survivors who were rescued Saturday by a merchant ship, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency and the International Organization for Migration. The tragedy ranks among the deadliest in recent years on the often treacherous sea voyage along the central Mediterranean by refugees and migrants from Africa, the Middle East, and beyond who have traveled in droves, hoping to reach relatively peaceful and wealthy Europe. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I've got some more in-depth news for you. We're going to talk about Hamilton stays on the $10 bill and Tubman goes to the 20. I'll explain that to you right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? Just before we left, I told you Hamilton is going to stay on the $10 bill. And Tubman goes on 20. Here's the deal. Harriet Tubman, an African-American abolitionist who was born a slave, will stand with George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Benjamin Franklin among the iconic faces of U.S. currency. The $20 bill will be redesigned with Tubman's portrait on the front, marking two historic milestones. Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew announced just today. Tubman will become the very first African-American on U.S. paper money and the first woman to be depicted on currency in 100 years. The leader of the Underground Railroad will replace the portrait of Andrew Jackson, the nation's 7th president, and a slave owner who will be pushed to the back of the bill. Lew also settled a backlash that had erupted after he had announced an initial plan to remove Alexander Hamilton, the nation's first Treasury Secretary, from the $10 bill in order to honor a woman on the bill. Now, Hamilton will remain on the $10 note. Lew said instead, the Treasury building on the back of the bill will be changed to commemorate a 1913 march that ended on the steps of the Treasury building that featured suffragette leaders Lucretia Mott, Sojourner Truth, Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady, Stanton, and Alice Paul. You know, I just think that I think it's fantastic. Now, the back of the 20, which now shows the White House, will be redesigned to include the White House and Jackson, whose statue stands across the street in Lafayette Park. The $5 bill will also undergo the change. The illustration of the Lincoln Memorial on the back will be redesigned to honor events at the Lincoln Memorial that helped to shape our history and our democracy. The new image on the $5 bill will include civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., who gave his famous I Have a Dream speech on the steps of the memorial in 1963, and Marian Anderson and Eleanor Roosevelt Anderson, an African-American opera singer, gave a concert at the memorial in 1939 after she had been blocked from singing at the then segregated Constitution Hall. The Lincoln Memorial concert was arranged by Mrs. Roosevelt. You know what? Some fantastic stuff going on. Lots of big changes. Are we even going to know if we have a good or a bad bill anymore? We're not going to be able to recognize them, I don't think. Well, Obama pushes the Saudis and Gulf allies to step up Iraq aid. With fresh friction wearing an old alliance, President Barack Obama pressed Saudi Arabia and Persian Gulf nations today to step up efforts to defeat the Islamic State group and help rebuild war-torn Iraq. Obama huddled privately with Saudi King Salman al-Erga Palace as Defense Secretary Ash Carter appealed to other Gulf nations for more economic and political support for Iraq, echoing themes Obama planned to emphasize personally in talks with Gulf leaders at a regional summit in addition to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Oman, and Qatar, they're all participating. Now, the president's visit came at a difficult time for such requests. U.S. relations with Gulf allies, particularly Saudi Arabia, are under new strains due to differences over Iran, the conflicts in Syria and Yemen, the Obama's public complaints that allies not carrying their weight. Carter asked the Gulf countries to help with the reconstruction of the cities of Ramadi and Hit, as well as Anbar province, areas that have been won back from the Islamic State militants, but were left in near shambles. He said helping the Iraqi people go home and rebuild their lives would lead to a more lasting victory and promote a more inclusive government. What we would like and what we discussed today is to do more, Carter said, in the Diriyah Palace. Well, you know what? I need to continue to apologize to you. I keep clearing my throat. It's because I got that flu that was going around, and I still got this crud kind of coming up on me. So I hope you'll excuse me as you hear not a perfect dissertation that goes on. And let's do this. How about this? The Volkswagen is to pay $1 billion to diesel owners and buy back some cars. Now, Volkswagen, the United States government, and private lawyers have reached a deal for the automaker to spend just over $1 billion to compensate owners of about 600,000 diesel-powered cars that cheat on emissions tests, including buyback offers to some owners, according to a person briefed on the matter. The deal in principle includes a maximum amount of spending, but the final details, like how much each owner would get, are still being worked out, according to the person who asked not to be identified because the deal hasn't been made public yet. Well, some owners would get a choice of having VW repair their cars or buy them back, but that would vary by model year and engine type, the person said. The deal does not yet include plans on how to repair the cars. The person said the cars can spew out harmful nitrogen oxide at 40 times the allowable limit, the person said. Wow, can you imagine? The agreement is likely to be announced on Thursday, tomorrow morning, during a federal court hearing in San Francisco. The person says it will not include plans to fix the cars. Those plans and the cost of their fixes apparently are still under negotiation. They've agreed on a maximum amount of money, over $1 billion for compensation, said the person. How it's allocated and distributed, that remains to be seen. Yeah, that makes sense to me, right? How about you? Well, don't go away, because when we come back from this commercial message, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case that's up is a minimal discrepancy does not justify the refusal of an installment agreement. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show. The IRS loses. And you know what? We've got some really great cases for you today, so kind of hang on there and listen in. We'll be telling you all about it right now. First off is a minimal discrepancy does not justify the refusal of an installment agreement. Here's the story. Omar Pineda owned a small business and fell behind on his taxes. Now, when the IRS moved to levy on his assets, excuse me, he requested an installment agreement. Now, an IRS appeals officer required him to file a full statement of business and personal finances to prove that he was compliant with the law and eligible for one. Now, then they found a $175 discrepancy between this accounting and Pineda's tax return and then rejected the agreement. So he went to tax court. This is what the judge actually had to say about it. The $175 was de minimis or minimal, and at trial, the appeals officer couldn't even say what information he wanted to fix the error. So the IRS had abused its discretion in not considering the agreement. I can tell you ultimately that Mr. Pineda did get his installment agreement in exactly the way that he had proposed it. Well, next IRS case that they lost is hiring a spouse makes medical costs, ready? Tax deductible or tax free, actually. You know what? Maureen Speltz operated a licensed daycare center in her home as a proprietorship. Now, her husband, Peter, worked full time as a machinist from 6 a.m. to 2:15 p.m. Then he came home and assisted her in the center. Now, she hired him as an employee, giving him an employment contract that included medical benefits. She deducted the benefits that she paid to him, and he took them tax-free. But the IRS objected that the arrangement was a sham. Here's what the tax court said. Maureen had a real business. The employment contract terms were reasonable. Peter lived up to them, doing real work that was documented, and the benefit plan met written requirements. So the tax-free benefits were proper. you know what? IRS just continues to try and get away with crud that they just shouldn't even, They forget who they work for, don't they? Yeah, it's not Congress. They work for us, because Congress works for us. How about this? The IRS loses. Erroneous private ruling absolutely can be relied upon. Here's the case. In 1981, a company obtained IRS approval of its method of computing deductible contributions to its qualified retirement plan in an IRS technical advice memorandum. But in 1996 and in 1997, court cases involving other companies held the method to be illegal. In 2005, IRS examiners asked if the company's deductions taken after the date of the court rulings could be disallowed. IRS is saying the cases involved other taxpayers and were appealable. The specific IRS approval obtained by the company of its actions protects all of its deductions claimed until the approval is revoked, which it is now on an ongoing basis, not a prior basis. So keep that in mind. Now, we've all heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. These are not tax court cases, but these are precedents that you can actually use in your own defense because the IRS has taken these stands. We call this inside to get a break from gambling losses. Now, in a recent tax court decision, which was James Canada tax court summary opinion, the court ruled that an individual could deduct losses from horse race betting at his business losses. How? The taxpayer pursued the activity regularly and with continuity and operated in a business-like manner. Now, this is essential. For any business loss to be deductible, the taxpayer must prove a profit motive. As long as you can continue to try something new to make a profit, it's pretty hard for the IRS to argue that you lacked a profit motive. It may be possible to sustain a tax-deductible loss from casino activity if you keep very accurate records. Now, visit casinos on a regular basis and can establish via your records that you changed betting strategies in an effort to generate profits, even if you were not a professional gambler. And now the casinos make it easier and easier. They have those player cards and stuff. They track everything you're doing. You've got a great record for everything that's going on. Keep that in mind the next time. You have to keep in mind too, if you're doing it as a business, that's one thing. If you're trying to deduct this as a itemized deduction, you have to itemize your deductions to do it. You know what? Only about 26% of the nation actually itemizes their deductions. Everybody else just kind of goes with the flow. Well, how about this? You ever wonder what happens when you lend money to your employer? Sounds strange, doesn't it? Although not common, there are times when an employee will provide working capital to his or her employer. Now, if the debt is not repaid, the loss will generally be treated as a short-term capital loss limited to an annual deduction of $3,000. Now, the better option? Claim the loss as an itemized deduction called bad debt from the employer. On Schedule A, if you can establish that the primary purpose of making the loan was to protect the payment of your salary. Now take note, be aware that taking the deduction may trigger the alternative minimum tax, and check with your financial advisor before you do anything like that. You want to make sure that you've got everything really, really covered and that you don't accidentally go off and make a mistake that's going to wind up hurting you, and that could actually take place. Now, I don't want you to go away because we're going to go on a short break, but when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the latest way to defer taxes on real estate sales. You know what? It may be too late for last year, but it's certainly not too late for you to do some planning this year. And that is really what you want to pay attention to. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time, currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 56 degrees. I can tell you earlier, it says the high was 89, but I know it was in the 90s because I was out earlier and it was actually registering that. And it's interesting because later on in the week, they're talking about maybe the possibility of cooling down quite a bit. And some rain. So we'll see what happens with that later on in the week. But if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, right now it's 67 degrees and it is clear and sunny. And in Chicago, Illinois, it's 70 degrees, but it's overcast. Yeah, go figure, right? But you know what? I've got some great tax news advice for you today, and I'm going to get right to it. Right now, I want to talk about the latest way to defer taxes on real estate sales. Now, you know what? It may be too late for last year. Most certainly is because, April 15th or actually the 18th this year is gone. You do have, extension till October the 15th. But even with that in mind, you ought to be thinking about some planning for next year based on this year's taxes. I'm talking about 2016. So let's get right to it. The long-running real estate boom has enticed many investors to buy rental properties. Most invest in relatively small properties, rental houses, modest apartment buildings, that kind of stuff, right? Now, by the time they factor in the cost of hiring a property manager or devoting their own time to operational details, many decide it's more lucrative and convenient to sell these properties and reinvest the proceeds in income-producing securities. Now, there's a trap here. Doing so triggers capital gains tax. With older properties in which the mortgage has been refinanced several times, the tax may be higher than the cash proceeds. Now, the depreciated basis will be low, increasing the taxable gain, while repayment of the large mortgage will cut down on cash to the seller. Keep that in mind. Here's the thing. In the depths of debt, you know, the problem that I just told you about may be most severe for investors who have refinanced highly appreciated property. And here's an example for you. Joe Jones bought a professional office building in his hometown many years ago for $100,000. The building is now appraised at around $1 million. Now, over the years, Joe's refinanced the building a few times as it went up in value. The mortgage has increased to about $800,000. Now, Joe wants to sell the building so that he won't have to deal with the management responsibilities any longer. Now, assuming that Joe has fully depreciated the building and nets $950,000 from the sale after expenses, he'd have an $850,000 long-term gain. Excuse me. Now, this gain would be taxed at the maximum long-term capital gains rate of 15%. The $100,000 worth of depreciation recapture would be taxed at 25%. So the total tax, $152,500. Now, many states and even some cities would tax this income too, which would add to Joe's obligation, right? Now, if Joe pocketed $950,000 from the sale and owed at least $152,500 in tax, his after-tax profit would be less than $800,000. Now, even if he hadn't refinanced investment property this heavily, a sale still would likely generate a sizable tax bill. So Joe's solution? Use a like-kind exchange with ownership shared by other investors. Now, to qualify for an IRS safe harbor in this type of transaction, replacement property must be identified within 45 days of selling the old property. Now, the new property must be acquired within 180 days. Now, keep this in mind. We haven't been 45 days past last year yet. That being the case, if you sold at the end of the year, you still could make this happen. Now, since swapping one small property for another probably won't reduce Joe's management commitments substantially, he structured the exchange so that ownership is by tenants in common. No. Instead of exchanging his property for another comparably valuable one, he swapped for an interest in a larger property, a piece of a major office building, or a regional mall, for example. Now, IRS guidelines allow up to 35 investors to hold tenants in common interests in those kinds of properties. Now, as an owner in a tenants in common interest, Joe shares in the property's operating profits pro rata as one of the 20 equal owners. For example, he would get 5% of any cash distributed to the owners. At the same time, his fortunes aren't locked into those of the co-owners. If Joe decides to sell and pay the deferred tax bill of $152,500 plus tax on any of the current profits, he's allowed to dispose of his interest, even if his co-owners prefer to hold on to the building. If Joe wants to sell his interest, it's up to him to find a buyer. The sponsor of the deal may be able to help him find that buyer. Now, how such an investment would save Joe money? Here's the thing. Joe could sell his apartment building, receive $950,000, and pay off his $800,000 mortgage. The $150,000 net proceeds would be held by an unrelated third party, such as a real estate attorney or a trustee known as an accommodator. Now, recapture tax, as well as capital gains tax, would then be deferred. Then Joe could seek to invest his $150,000 in a tenants in common interest, which also has a mortgage. So the total purchase price of the property among all investors is at least $950,001. This is a hypothetical example now. Some tenants in common programs have minimums of $250,000 or more, so kind of keep that in mind. Now, the same 45 and 880-day time constraints apply to a tenants in common exchange as I described to you a little bit earlier. Now, How to find a tenants in common deal? Here's the thing. Tenants in common deals around the country are constantly being offered for sale. And why is it easier to evaluate a tenants in common deal within 45 days than to locate your own replacement property? There's two reasons for this. Organized tenants in common deals already have been selected and analyzed by sponsors. Now, prospective investors can read the reports and scrutinize the backgrounds of the people putting together the offering rather than viewing properties themselves. You may designate several potential tenants in common deals before the 45 days end. You'll have time to evaluate them more carefully and choose the right one before your 180 days runs out. If the time limits are met and you receive neither cash nor debt relief from the exchange, it's likely that no taxes are going to be due for you. Now take note of this though. You may need to add your own funds to cover the selling costs in order to avoid paying taxes on what would otherwise be considered what they call boot. Now boot is any cash or debt relief that you receive or when the buyer's funds are used to pay your sales costs. The IRS regards that as if you had received the money and used it to pay the commissions and fees yourself. So you've got to be careful. The tax advantages of tenants in common exchanges are not assured. Like-kind exchanges of real estate property and tax deferred under section what they call 1031 of the tax code. Now, however, no ruling states that properties can be exchanged for tenants in common interest. So that's kind of the thing that's going on. Now, positive signs. The IRS has not come out with a ruling prohibiting tenants in common exchanges, considering that an estimated $3 billion worth of tenants in common exchanges were done last year. It's likely that the IRS would have announced any opposition by now, don't you think? Sure. Now, in addition, the IRS has issued revenue procedures outlining the conditions that a tenants in common exchange must meet in order to be submitted to the IRS for a private ruling. Now, doing so is not practical because of the time constraints, but revenue procedures indicate that the IRS will approve a tenants in common exchange if it's done according to regular like-kind exchange rules. So there's a strategy for this. Sure there is. Make sure that you exchange property for property. A major risk in organized deals is that the IRS is going to say that you've exchanged property for a security, which would not be a like-kind exchange. If you're offered a tenants in common interest by people who have securities licenses rather than real estate licenses, seek legal advice on whether a tax-deferred exchange will be approved. Always use that licensed professional. Always, always, always. Now, to locate tenants in common sponsors and accommodators, visit the websites of the Tenant in Common Association. That's www.TICASSOC.org. Again, that's www.TICASSOC.org. Now, a group of tenants in common attorneys, lenders, sponsors, and intermediaries, or of Omni Brokerage Incorporated. You can also go to www.omni, that's OMNI, 1031.com, or Cap Harbor LLC, which is www.caphabor.com. Investment firms active in bringing together buyers and sellers via the tenants in common exchanges. That is exactly the way you do it. That's exactly how you save the money, and that's exactly how it's going to work. Now, don't go away. We have to go on another brief commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about loopholes, tax loopholes. I'm going to talk to you about new baby tax loopholes. So don't go away. I've got a lot of great information for you. We'll be right back right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now,
of Business and Politics. We're at 3:48 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 55 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our global network today and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 57 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 55 degrees and it's still clear. Now, I want to remind you that we're giving you some tax tips right now, but you want to hang on because coming up next is going to be our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. You know what? Joel's got always lots and lots of stuff, and I'm sure that he's going to have more things to talk about in the next half hour than we've got time to talk about it. But I'm anxious to talk to him about it. But right now, I want to talk to you about some tax loopholes. And what kind of tax loopholes are we talking about? Well, new baby tax loopholes. That's what I want to talk to you about. So let's get right to it. You know, when you shop for a baby gift, consider a custodial account, a tuition savings plan, a trust, or other gifting strategies designed to help newborns and their families minimize their tax bills. Now, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? But, you know, why not do some planning that saves you some money, too? Here's a loophole for you. Open a custodial account for the baby. Accounts covered by your state's Uniform Gifts to Minors Act or the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act will be owned by the baby. Any income that the account generates will be taxed at the baby's low tax rate instead of yours. Now, these accounts can be opened in a custodian's name on behalf of the minor, who must be given complete access to the money by the age of 18 or 21, depending on state law. Now, the custodian, the person who looks after the money, generally is an adult family member. Now, there is a limitation. Children under the age of 14 can earn $850 of investment income tax-free. Now, an additional $850 of investment income will be taxed at 10%. That's investment earnings of more than $1,700, however, will be taxed at the parent's higher tax rate. That's what they call the kiddie tax, right? Now, here's the trap, though. Grandparents who make gifts to custodial accounts for their grandchildren should not act as custodians. When they do, any money left in the account when the grandparent dies will be included in his or her taxable estate. Now, what you need to do is listen to the next two loopholes to learn how to avoid this problem. First off, have one grandparent make a gift of the money to the other grandparent. Now, that grandparent then gives the money to the grandchild. The other grandparent can therefore act as custodian without adverse estate tax consequences. So give that some thought. And you know what? And this sounds simple enough, right? But always, always, always contact a professional, a licensed professional before you do any of these kind of things, especially when you're talking about estate kind of stuff. Here's another loophole for you. Open a Section 529 qualified tuition savings plan. Well, annual contributions of up to $12,000, $24,000 for, actually that's not true. It's up to $14,000 and it's up to $28,000 for consenting spouse are gift tax free. Now, there is a special rule for contributions of the 529 plans that allows you to elect to spread a one-time transfer over 5 years for gift tax purposes. Now, when the funds are used for college tuition, the income is completely tax-free. Donors can be plan trustees controlling the funds until distributed. However, investment choices are limited by each state. Some states are going to give a tax deduction for contributions, so you need to check with your accountant before you do any of this kind of stuff. Excuse me, I've still got that crud going around. Withdrawals not used to pay college tuition are going to be subject to income tax and a 10% penalty. So here's a strategy for it. If the designated child beneficiary does not attend college, you can switch that beneficiary to someone who would use the money to pay tuition. So you've got that option all the time. Here's another loophole for you. Report U.S. savings bond interest annually. Now, when your child receives U.S. savings bonds as gifts, elect on his first tax return to report the bond interest annually rather than let it accumulate. Now, file a tax return for the child right away, even though you're not even required to do so. And the reason for that? The baby is going to owe no tax as long as the interest accrued on the bond does not exceed $850,000 a year, including any other unearned income the child might have. Now that way, when the child reaches age 14 or later and cashes in the bonds, no tax is actually going to be due. Think about that. That's quite a strategy. Here's another loophole for you. Set up a trust for the baby. Now, a trust will give you more control over the funds than a custodial account, and you can keep the money in an account long after the child turns age 21, or you can make distributions contingent upon certain events, such as attending college or a summer vacation trip overseas. You got a lot more options going for you. Here's another loophole for you. Buy additional insurance on your life. Have the policy put into a trust for the benefit of the child, not your spouse. Now, this prevents the proceeds from being included in either parent's taxable estate if both parents die in one accident. Now, here's the strategy. Set up a life insurance trust with principal going to the child and income to the surviving spouse. This provides income during the parent's lifetime, but keeps the proceeds out of his estate for tax purposes. Keep in mind that child can earn up to $3 million tax-free from life insurance proceeds. That's a big, big deal, guys. There's a lot more going on here, but you have to be in a position to be able to exercise these things. How about this? Shift future income to the child. While shifting current income is not a good idea because most of a young child's income is taxed at the parent's bracket, consider shifting assets that'll grow in value or produce income in the future. Let me give you an example of that. Put Subchapter S Corporation stock or your interest in a limited liability company that produces little current income but has future growth potential into a trust for the baby. The appreciation will be taxed at the child's lower rates and when he is age 14 or older. Yeah, here's another loophole for you. Last one for today. Buy tax-favored investments in the baby's name. You can reduce taxes owned or owed on a baby's investments by putting the money into zero coupon or regular municipal bonds or bond funds, which pay tax-exempt interest. Now, these investments are suitable until the child's no longer subject to the kiddie tax, and that's what we want to do there. Now, another good alternative to this is growth stocks that pay little or no dividends, such as startups or technology or biotech stocks. And then finally, here's a general caution for you. Before putting anything in a child's name, think about the impact that this is going to have on financial aid for education, because we are in an era where college education just costs a god-awful fortune. And you know what? You got to be careful. You got to be careful of the planning. You get too much income in that child's name, you may not be able to get the college age that you'd like to have. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, and I just know he has got a plethora, how do you like that word, of information for us in new wireless technology and deals that are out there. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about
global network, and you're in London, England. It's 46 degrees and clear. Doesn't happen very often this time of year there. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's also 46 degrees and clear. But if you're looking for great news, great things, sit down, strap yourself in, get ready for Dr. Wireless, our own Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, are you sitting out there?
I am, Robert. How are you today?
Well, you know what? For the first time in about 3 weeks, I feel like an actual human being, although I still have a little stuff in my throat. But, so if I cough a little bit, excuse me.
Likewise. I got that same stuff in my throat, too, so.
Oh,
isn't that similar?
Isn't that unbelievable? That thing just hangs on.
Sure does.
Yeah.
I like that word plethora. You're right. I have a plethora of stuff today, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently.
All right.
Because we never seem to finish. What I'm going to do today is just touch on these subjects. I'm not going to do the deep dive. Anybody who wants to dive deep into this stuff and get all the details can get it, because everything is coming from our Facebook/DR Wireless page today. It's also coming from our drwireless.com/blog page. Have I got some exciting stuff?
Well, I can't hardly wait. Exciting is good. You know, at my age, exciting is good.
It is good. Everybody knows who Viber is. The voice over IP service that we all know and love.
Oh, yeah.
They have recently added end-to-end encryption, the same thing that our friends at WhatsApp and Telegram have been using. This is apparently what makes them so popular with ISIS and all these terrorist groups. Well, Viber will be adding that same encryption, and sure, it's going to drive the FBI crazy, but for consumers like us, it's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Wouldn't you agree that any encryption is good as long as its efficacy is withheld? I mean, here's the thing: didn't it disturb you when they were trying to make Apple comply with breaking the encryption that was on the iPhone? It bothered me.
Of course it did, because, I've got my banking history, I've got all kinds of personal information, my password keeper, I've got all kinds of stuff on that phone that I wouldn't want to get out. And everybody in the United States and around the world relies on these manufacturers and their security. Yeah. Their perceived security. So, yeah, that's important, and I think a lot of people were very concerned when Apple was... Well, not Apple, but the FBI was requesting a hack.
Well, it's interesting that because as it turns out, and I have a question I wanted to ask you anyway, but as it turns out, the FBI didn't hack into the iPhone. They paid independent hackers to get into it.
Exactly. And I'm told it's Cellbrite. They're not admitting it, but I'm told it's the Israeli company Cellbrite, which does forensic mobile work like this all the time.
Hey, I got a deal in today's an email today from my bank. Now, I'll tell you, I bank. Maybe I shouldn't say. Yeah, what the hell? Who cares? I bank with Wells Fargo Bank, and I do a lot of internet banking. I mean, I pay my bill. I let them send the checks out. Why should I don't have to pay the postage. I don't have to pay nothing. I let them do it all, right? And I think it's terrific. And I'll do it from my desktop. I'll do it from my laptop. I'll do it from my iPhone. A lot of times I just do it from my iPhone. And well, today I get this notice from them saying that I no longer have to enter in my password. All I got to do is use my thumbprint that I've been using all along with my iPhone, and they accept that. What do you think about that?
Well, in that you've got a unique thumbprint that nobody else is going to be able to duplicate. Unless they amputate your fingers, I think you're safe.
Yeah, because
that's the truth is, I use Wells Fargo banking myself, and all my accounts are online. It's easy to move money from one to another, pay bills. I haven't gotten that memo yet, but I'm sure I will.
You know what? I actually did it. I activated it. I even tried it today. It worked out terrific. And it sure makes banking a whole lot easier. And all the stuff that's there is just phenomenal. It's made banking so much easier.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Anyhow, we have for this week the craziest smartphone product of the week. Ready for this?
I'm ready. Is this going to be an AT&T?
Are you sitting down?
Is this AT&T's $100 deal?
No.
Oh.
Are you sitting down?
I am sitting down.
Well, you can lay down if you want. This is a smart mattress.
What?
Have you heard about this?
No.
The new smart mattress?
No.
The thing about this smart mattress is if you suspect that your significant other is bringing others into your bedroom, you could have an adult conversation about it or seek couples counseling. Alternatively, you can buy a $1,700 mattress that will tell you when your partner is having sex with someone that isn't you. How's that? It's got a lover detection system with 24 sensors within the springs.
Well, I'm going on 51 years. I'm going to pass on that, I think.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going on 28, so it's not for me either, but pretty amazing technology.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that one.
You know what? I actually thought you were going to go in another direction. I thought you were going to say, you could lay in bed and command it to go, to interact with your smart TV and just talk to it or something, right? But that's not the direction you went in. But it's still going to be cheaper than a psychiatrist.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. But it's a pretty interesting invention.
Yeah.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Well, did you see where AT&T, if you'll buy a new smartphone from them, they'll give you $100 for each line you activate.
You know what? I don't. To be quite frank with you, I no longer pay attention to AT&T. They really don't offer me anything I can't get elsewhere for less or for better. Mm-hmm. So I really don't do anything with AT&T these days. I do know that everybody's got some kind of deal. Sprint is now running that deal where the BOGO deal. You buy one F7 or F7 Edge, and they give you a second one for free.
Well, see, I was trying to impress you, and I just blew the hell out of it.
No, you didn't. Because you're on top. You know something I don't know, but it's not because I was hiding behind a bush or anything.
Well, did you know that Verizon sold their FiOS and their internet and all that stuff to a company called Frontier Communications?
I heard that they were in the process of doing that, and I know they are bidding for Yahoo against. God, who was it? Was it Google? Somebody else big.
Yeah.
But there's just been a big wave of consolidations and partnerships, and you really have to be careful with that stuff, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to segue into something here. Mm-hmm. You've heard of that company, Huawei? They're a Chinese company.
Yes.
Manufacturing high-end smartphones. They have this P9 camera on their newest model, and if you see the model, it's gorgeous. It's got a brushed chrome back, and it says Leica, the German company. Yeah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing them right.
Yeah, Leica's a camera brand.
Leica. They're like the Rolls-Royce of cameras, or German optics, supposedly, some of the best. And apparently, Huawei partnered with them and gives the impression that Leica's making their camera.
Wow.
But when you dig deep, there's really nothing that Leica did other than certify the camera. They didn't make it. They didn't provide the optics. They didn't do anything. All I can find here is that they're certifying this camera. It's made by a company called Sunnyvale or somebody in China. It's supposedly a very good camera. But the impression to see it say Leica on the back
is misleading.
It's got German optics and
it's misleading.
Nikon or Zeiss optics or something, you assume something that may not be.
Oh, sure. It's really misleading because anybody that knows anything about photography knows about the reputation of Leica, and they would buy it just based on that, not realizing that it's not Leica manufactured. It's Leica they just sort of reviewed it.
Or Leica technology or Leica product.
Right.
Leica certified. Leica saying, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the extent of it.
Yeah, it'll take a picture.
Exactly. But in any case, the other thing that we have that is interesting is we have 6 really good iPhone camera tips. Stuff that most people wouldn't realize.
I got my pin ready here, Joel.
Okay, you don't need to do that. You can just go to our Facebook /DR Wireless and get them. But I have 6 really good tricks. One of them applies to using the white, factory earbuds as a camera shutter release, which is kind of cool. The other one's an exposure focus lock, a grid overlay. There's some really cool stuff people just aren't aware of. Mm-hmm. And our friends at BGR Wireless gave us these good tips, and I'm passing them along.
Well, no, you mean your ear? You can use your earbuds that you listen to your iTunes on to actually use to operate your camera. Oh, really?
Yes. So for those selfie takers, there you go.
Wow.
You don't need to buy a selfie stick.
Well, you know what? Yeah, that's true, huh? You don't have to do that.
That's exactly true.
Wow.
So we have that going on. We have our friends at GoPro. They just released a new 360-degree virtual reality application, and it's going to work with Android and iOS smartphones. So anybody with a GoPro and an iPhone or an Android,
now,
a lot of people.
Are GoPros, they're waterproof, right?
Yeah, what they are, they're a guy in San Francisco. I wish I thought of it. This guy in San Francisco developed this small camera, and they're pretty inexpensive. They run from $200 to maybe $400, and they're designed to be used in the water. So the rage right now is all the professional surfers have them fixed to the nose of their boards. People carry them, people wear them on their heads, their waists. But there is all kinds of great surfing footage, tube rides, sharks jumping out of the water.
Do you watch The Amazing Race?
Yeah, sometimes.
You know what? I watch from time to time too, and sometimes they have these amazing pictures, and I'm wondering if they're using these GoPros for those things. These have these cameras that are attaching to these contestants, and it must be GoPros.
They are. The reason they use those things is they're super durable, they're super cheap, and they make all kinds of mounts, so they make it real easy. I have friends that surf with them and hold sticks, while they're surfing, that are, videotaping themselves, getting tube rides and what have you. Huh. So they're pretty amazing, and this is going to make it even cooler with a 360 virtual reality look to it.
Wow.
We also have our friends at Netflix doing something pretty interesting.
Well, what are they doing?
They said 2 years ago they would never, ever, ever offer offline viewing.
Offer what?
They were all about streaming real time and never going to offer offline viewing. But a funny thing happened. And that funny thing is called Amazon Prime. Competition's a beautiful thing. Amazon Prime, Jeff Bezos beat these guys at Netflix to the punch. They are offering offline viewing, and now all of a sudden Netflix is saying, we'll keep an open mind on this.
Don't you love competition, Joel?
You gotta love it. You really have to love competition. Apple maybe not so much. They just agreed to pay a $24.9 million suit regarding Siri patent legalities. They infringed
on somebody's patent when they put Siri together?
They did. They did not develop Siri technology. Apparently some company named Dynamic Advances, who I guess the patent is owned by Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is a small private research university in New York. And apparently they got the patent in 2007, years before Siri was invented. And they hold the exclusive license to it. And
well, you know what? Apple got by cheap then.
Well, they did. You know why? Because this lawsuit was supposed to go to trial next month, and Apple just settled the suit before it went to trial. So I think 24.9 is a drop in the bucket compared to what this company might have got.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting information.
So how does does that also affect Windows?
I don't think so. I didn't hear anything about Cortana, but we'll see. The thing about Windows, they don't have as many devices out there, so I don't think there's as much liability out there for them.
Yeah, probably not, huh?
Yeah.
So is it? And
again, I just wanted to mention, Robert, that everything that we're talking about people can dive deep on it. Facebook/DR Wireless, or they can go to drwireless.com/blog, or they can contact me directly at joel@drwireless.com.
And you know what? And you need to let people know that there is a tremendous amount of information on those sites.
There really is. I mean, we try. We want people to come there, so we try to put value-added information that people are going to appreciate. And actually, there's quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, and I've told this story before. I actually got Windows 10 before you did, but I got it from your site. It was before Microsoft was actually putting it on my computer. And I went to your site, downloaded the link, and was able to put Microsoft 10 on my computer before anybody else would allow me to get it.
You got it before I got it because my computer, for some reason, didn't want to download it, and yours did.
Yeah. So your site's got just a ton of stuff there. And the blog stuff is really interesting.
Well, like I said, we do try to add value-added information. Actually, I put some stuff up there that I think your users are going to want to know about. And I just put up some fresh stuff, one of which is, I'm sure you've heard about all these catastrophes we've been having with earthquakes around the world.
Of course, it's been horrific.
It has been unbelievable. Nepal, and then we have Japan, and then we have Ecuador. I just was gratified to be able to contribute to Operation Nepal. We were able to provide Globalstar. I was able to get Globalstar, our friends over there, to provide some GPS satellite communication equipment to these folks for emergencies. So really scary stuff right now.
Isn't it amazing? Don't you find, I know we've got about a minute left, but before we have to go on a break, but don't you find it's almost saddening at the limitations, the technological limitations, when you get outside of, the United States or Europe or the developed countries, how many undeveloped countries just don't have any access to this technology, that it's almost become a human necessity.
It really has, and that's why I'm now in the satellite business offering these products, because you don't need local infrastructure to make calls. So they can be in Nepal and make calls to anywhere in the world without using the local Indian infrastructure. But before we go to break, I wanted to point out Time Warner, and this is on our site. Time Warner today announced that all calls placed by residential and commercial phone users, landline and mobile, to Ecuador, Japan, and Burma, Myanmar, whatever they call it these days, will be free through May 19th. So free calling will be retroactive. Actually, it starts April 13th for Myanmar, April 14th for Japan, and April 16th for Ecuador. So anybody who needs to call family or friends in these countries, if they have Time Warner, they're going to be able to do it for free.
That's a terrific humanitarian effort. I think that's wonderful.
I thought it was nice. I figured on that note, we can go to break.
All right. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, and we'll be right back with just, hang on to your seat. Don't get out of there. If you have to go to the bathroom, this is the time to do it. We'll be right back with Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. You don't want to miss what he has to say. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's finally getting down a little bit, down from 90 degrees. It's 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our global network and you're in Madrid, Spain, well, you know what? It's 46 degrees, mostly cloudy. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, 65 degrees, and it's cloudy there too. But you know where it's not cloudy? It's not cloudy anywhere here in Southern California, where my good buddy Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, is waiting in the wings to tell us more about new technology offerings that are sitting out there. Hey, Joel, you got the microphone.
It's a beautiful day in the South Bay today, that's for sure.
Hey, by the way, did you get your feet wet today?
I did. I did. That's probably why I've been still sick. The last 3 days, it's just been totally epic. The conditions have been perfect. The surf has been perfect. I've been under the weather, but I've been surfing anyway. So I'm probably could have been better 2 days ago. I'm kind of in a holding pattern, but I'm feeling good about myself.
Well, how long have you had this crud? I've had it, and I'm going on 3 weeks now, and I'm thinking, I feel good, but I still have this cough going on,
Well, I just have it a week. My wife had it and graciously gave it to me. So it's been a week for me. She's healthy, but I have it, and I feel fine. I just my bark is worse than my bite.
Well, you sound good. If that's any consolation, you sound good. And your wife is probably enjoying this new, silver throat of yours, this sexy tone of yours.
Yeah, well, maybe. I do have that kind of very white voice thing going for me.
So listen.
But before I forget, let me give you some of the best deals of the week we have for equipment and plans.
Yeah.
For your users, we have this week, T-Mobile's got a smoking deal. These are like spring break limited deals. Anybody who gets these can have them for the rest of their life, but they're only going to be offered for a short period. New subscribers won't be able to get these deals once they stop offering them, but if you got them, you can keep them. The first one is 4 lines. Anybody with T-Mobile who wants T-Mobile, $35 a line, up to which gives you 4 lines. You're looking at $140 for a 4-line family plan, unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited 2G data, and that gives you 10 gigabytes of data for each user, which is more than anybody could ever use. That's because they also give you that binge-on feature with the free streaming that doesn't count your music and, your YouTube and all of that stuff. It doesn't even count against your 4G.
So because you had said 2G, but you meant 4G?
No, the way T-Mobile does this is they give you on every plan, even their cheapest plans, it's unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited data.
Mm-hmm.
but the unlimited data they're giving you is 2G, which is great for Facebook and email, but if you want to stream video, forget about it. So
Gotcha.
you need the 4G. So on this plan, they're giving you 10 gigabytes each of 4G, each user, all 4 users. So it's 40 gigabytes, but each user is getting 10 gigs, no reason to share data. But nobody's ever going to use the 10 gigs because of this binge on feature. They're offering 45 different streaming video services and music services for free without counting against your data. So that's kind of cool. So that's one option. The other option they have, and this is good because up until recently there was no deals unless you had 3 or 4 or more lines. Anybody with 2 lines can pay $80. They will get unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited 2G data with 6 gigabytes each of data. No reason to share. Each user gets 6 gigs. That's pretty good for a 2-line program.
Now, when you say 2 lines, that's 2 phones, right? Or is it 2 lines?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's 2 phones.
Okay.
Say your wife, let's say you and your wife needs a phone.
Yeah.
You can be paying $80 a month and know that you'll never go over that because there's no way you're going to pay excess data charges because they'll slow you down if you exceeded the data. No way you're going to pay roaming charges because they give you free data and free texting globally in 140 countries. So they give you a heck of a lot. For not very much money. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's really amazing. And if you think in terms of, gosh, I don't even know if I should be talking about what I have or don't have. Now, when on my phone, 2 or 3 people can call me and I can put them all on at the same time. Does that mean I've got 2 or 3 different lines, or what does that mean?
No. That means you have call waiting.
Okay.
When you have multiple lines, it just means that, my wife has a phone, my daughter has a phone, I have a phone, so we have a 3-line family plan. All 3 of us have our own devices with unlimited everything, and we don't have to worry about what each other is doing as far as data usage, and that's been the biggest problem for people on family plans with some of these other carriers. Nobody really knows what they're using, let alone what their spouses and daughters and sons are using. And at the end of the month, by law, they now have to tell you when you've reached 80% of your capacity. Now, you'll get that notification.
Now, if you have, let's just say, the 2 lines with the 6 gigabytes each of data, if one of you doesn't use yours, can the other one tap into it, or is it's exclusive to that line?
Yeah, well, the way T-Mobile does this, they don't share. For example, Verizon, you go on a Verizon plan, you're going to tell me how many megabytes or gigabytes of data you want. If you want 12 gigabytes, then what happens is everybody on that plan is going to split the 12 gigs. So if you choose a 12 gig plan, it might cost you $80. Then you got to pay per smartphone. So if you have 4 smartphones, you're leasing them, it's $20 each. If you have 4 smartphones, you're taking them on contract with the $4.50 subsidy, it's $40 each. So once you get past all that in your monthly bill, if you exceed that 12 gigabytes, now you're going to be charged an additional gigabyte charge. So this is the cool thing about the T-Mobile program. You're given more than enough. Each user has more than enough data they'll ever use. And if they do exceed it, they'll be slowed down. They're not going to be charged excessively. And before I forget, Robert, they're offering this month, T-Mobile's offering, if you buy an iPhone, they will give you a second one for half price.
Really?
Yes. Now, these deals obviously require you either do an upgrade or a new activation on the first one. The second one has to be a new activation. So if you have 2 lines you want to upgrade, you're not eligible for this. They require one can be an upgrade, the other has to be a new activation.
But that's like getting 25% off.
Yeah, of course. You can save up to $450. If you wanted a $950, 6 S plus 128 gig.
Yeah.
That phone is $950. So if you take 2 of them, the second one you're going to get $450 off.
That's a good deal.
So yeah, for somebody who's going to get service anyway, if they're going to get, I think it's a wonderful deal. It's a great phone, it's good service. It's more about what you're paying every month.
And then Joel, you own that phone, right? You're not leasing it. You own that phone, right?
Exactly. You own that phone.
Yeah. You know what? You and I talked about this a number of times. I still like the idea that I own my phone.
I do too, Robert. What I just recently did, and I don't think we've spoken since I did this, I have moved up from a 6. I had an iPhone 6 128 gig. I moved up to an iPhone 6S Plus 64 gig.
Oh, you said you were going to do it.
I did it. I gave up 64 gig, which I never come close to that anyway, but I gained the size, and I like it better in almost every way but one.
Which is?
Well, I should say but two. One is I have a few pairs of board shorts. I can't stick that phone in the pocket anymore. So that's kind of a bummer. But the other thing that kind of drives me a little crazy, and anybody out there who has one of these devices and is having the same issue, I'd love to hear from you, because Apple's making it sound like it's just me, and I know it isn't. But I've noticed on the 6S Plus versus my 6, the accelerometer does not work as well. That's the device that makes your screen change when you turn it sideways. Your screen turns sideways. When you go vertical, it goes vertical. And you can turn that off or on. Some people hate it and they just disable it. I love it because I watch a lot of video.
Yeah, I do the same thing. No, I don't have the big screen like you. Yeah,
you have the 6 though, right?
No, I've got the 5S.
Okay, you don't have that problem.
No, and I love it. I turn it and I get that full screen.
Problem.
Yeah.
On the one I have now, Robert, it is sluggish. So when I turn it over, it doesn't always change right away.
You know,
so anybody else having that problem, I'd love to hear from you, Joel at drwireless.com. It's a matter of the device is not adjusting immediately when you turn it sideways or straight up.
Joel, isn't it amazing what we are complaining about these days?
I know. If that's the biggest problem I have, I think I can survive. I just thought it was an interesting observation because that phone has 2 million pixels versus 1 million on my regular iPhone 6. Yeah. I see a dramatic difference on the screen. I see a dramatic difference with the camera. It just seems like there's a difference. The text is bigger. I had to make the text bigger. It isn't automatic, but I found the feature that allows you to do that. If you need to do that, Robert, it's easy to do. It's under settings, and then I think it's display.
I've done it to mine.
But makes it easier to see.
Yeah, you know what? I wear glasses, and I still needed to make them bigger.
I know what you're saying. And then lastly, I wanted to let folks know with all these, I hate to harp on, whenever there's a catastrophe, I don't want to try to sell anybody anything, but at the same time, I'm remiss in doing my duty if I don't bring this stuff up.
Yeah.
With all these earthquakes, we know what happens. Even if the infrastructure is not destroyed, with all the phone calls coming in from all over the world for people checking because they heard that there was an earthquake, even if there's no damage, the networks always get busy.
Sure.
Satellite phones today are the best solution for a catastrophe. And the reason they're such a great solution is for the first time, they're more affordable than ever. We'll get into that in a second. But the best thing about satellite phones is when you place a phone call, you are not using your local infrastructure, which more than likely is not going to be available. Your call is going 910 miles straight up to a satellite, and then it's going to be routed to one of their switching stations in the U.S. There's one in Mississippi, Louisiana. There's one in Florida. So if there was an earthquake in California, you're not impacted. You're making phone calls from California, and you can call anybody you want. As long as you're not calling somebody in California who has to rely on cellular technology.
Well, does it make sense? Does it make sense, Joel, now? Does the pricing make sense now that every household ought to have a satellite phone just for emergencies?
I don't know that every household, but I think every major business should have one, and I think every household should know somebody who has one if they don't have one. What I mean by affordable, Robert, is for $840 a year for the first year, you can have a year of satellite service, which is like 100 minutes a month, and a free satellite phone.
Wow.
A $500 satellite phone is free. So basically, you pay for a year service. Again, it's $840 for the year. You have free service for that year. And then the following year, what a lot of my clients do is they back the plan down to the 40-minute plan. which is like $40 a month. So it's like $480 for the second year. And you're getting 40 minutes a month of free, airtime, which is more than enough to test the device every month. And if you had to use it, if you had to pay $1 a minute above 40 minutes, during a disaster, that's nothing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So it is affordable. You get your free sat phone, in that $840 for the first year. You got your free $500 sat phone. You got free voicemail, data compression, text messaging, 100 minutes a month. Second year, if you want to drop that down to $480 for the year, you're getting like 40 minutes a month included, and you have your satellite phone. God forbid, hopefully you'll never need to use it, but it's there if you do.
Well, I mean, that's cheap insurance if you think about it. And then if let's just say, like you were talking about it, during these natural emergencies like this, and you don't, your cell phone doesn't work, your landlines don't work, nothing works, that phone goes directly to the satellite, so it's always going to work, isn't it?
It will work every time.
But
because it's going directly to the satellite, and for two reasons it's going to work. Number one, you don't have the crowd problem, the over busy problem that the wireline and wireless networks experience, because not everybody has a sat phone.
Yeah.
Very few people own their own sat phone. So you're not dealing with a cell site that's got 10,000 people trying to use it, or a mobile telephone switching office which is destroyed, or networks that are just over busy.
But you're
making a phone call from a device to a satellite.
But if you're going to avoid these natural disasters and the congestion that takes place because of that, the person at the other end of that call needs to have a sat phone too, don't they?
No. The whole beauty is, if that person is in the same area you are. But the way this works, Robert, is you make the phone call from your satellite phone, and it goes 910 miles up to a low Earth orbiting satellite. And from that satellite, it goes either to a second satellite phone, or it goes to Global Star's mobile telephone switching office. And from there, it can go to any landline, any cell phone, any kind of phone, providing it's in a market that's not impacted, that doesn't have the infrastructure down.
Gotcha.
So
better for calling out than calling in.
Well, let's say we have an earthquake in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
What happens is I make a phone call. It's going to go out to Sebring, Florida, from the satellite, or to Louisiana. And from there, it will go to whoever. If I call my dad, it's going to go to his cell phone in Florida or his landline in Florida. Yeah. No problem. If he wants to call me, same thing. He can call me. He's got to call the satellite phone. It's interesting. All right. So you get a designated satellite phone number.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's interesting. I know we're running out of time, but we also have Sat-Fi routers, which you can pair an Android or an iPhone, regular Android or iPhone, to a router, which routes the call through the satellite network.
Wow.
We'll talk about that next week, but that's a fantastic option for an office because you can have up to 8 people making simultaneous calls off the network via satellite.
That sounds fantastic. Hey, Joel, give that contact information out one more time before we let you go.
Again, everything we've talked about can be found at DR Wireless, I should say Facebook/DR Wireless, or you can go to our site, www.drwireless.com/blog.
Hey, great show, Joel. Thank you so much. And I was right. You had a plethora of information for us today. I look forward to talking to you next Wednesday for another installment of Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, thank you. Have a great week, and make everybody in your life happy because you're in it, will you?
Likewise. Hopefully we'll both be healthy by next week.
Boy, from your lips to God's ears, Joel. All right, buddy. Now, everybody else, stay tuned here. We're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. You don't want to miss it. Got great stuff coming your way.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? At 4:43 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 73 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Auckland, New Zealand, 86 degrees and it is clear. But you know what? It's time for our Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is 3 ways to unlock your creative potential at work. Yep. Tapping into your innate creativity requires making changes to what you do at work. You need to break your most destructive, focus-killing habits, such as spending a large portion of your day or weekend on email or giving in to persistent distractions. To start, give yourself time to quietly think and reflect. Practicing mindfulness can be extremely helpful for this because it aids cognitive functioning. The other thing to work on is managing stress about your deficiencies and failures. This may be most difficult for achievement-oriented business people, but no one can possibly be creative without failing a lot. Now, finally, focus on what makes you happy at work. The positive emotions that you feel when you're connected to your personal and organizational purpose will help you stay grounded and creative, even when things are tough. Yep, That's just a fact, folks. You just got to know it is a fact. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life, and you hear me talk about it every day. This is the segment that we talk about a positive mental attitude. This is where you are in control of everything. You decide when you open your eyes in the morning whether you're going to be happy or sad, healthy or sick. You're going to be a success or a failure. If you're going to have, people around you happy because they're with you. It's all up to you. It's all about that positive mental attitude. Now, the teaching for today is when you want an answer to a question, direct that question to within you. Believe and know that the moment you ask, you are being answered. You don't know how the answer will come, but you will receive it. And the answer you receive will be the perfect answer for you because you attracted it from within you. You know what? Mentally, you actually do have all of the answers. You're just not always aware of it. That's the problem these days, right? You're just not always aware of it. Well, you know what today is, right? Yeah, today's a special day. It's Wednesday. It's April the 20th. And it's somebody's birthday. And we've got some terrific birthdays for today. Here's the first one. This fellow was born in 1908. Excuse me, folks. I'm so sorry. Anyway, he was born in 1908, died in 2002. Best known as a jazz vibraphonist. Happy birthday, Lionel Hampton. For those of you that were lucky enough to hear this man, boy, what a talent he was. Now, here's somebody that most of us all know, may not recognize the name. Born in 1937, an actor best known for his as Mr. Sulu on Star Trek. Happy birthday, George Takei. And here's a guy born in 1961, retired New York Yanks first baseman. Donnie Baseball is one of the most popular Yankees in the team's history. Happy birthday, Don Mattingly. And then finally, born in 1972, a model, an actress, a TV personality, a singer, and a dancer. Happy birthday, Carmen Electra. Yes, absolutely. Well, let's talk about what happened today in history. On April the 20th, 1916, Chicago Cubs played their very first game at Weidman Park, currently called Wrigley Field, defeating the Cincinnati Reds 7-6 in 11 innings. And in 1939, Billie Holiday records the first civil rights song, Strange Fruit. And on today, April the 20th, 1986, professional baseball player Michael Jordan sets all-time record for points in an NBA playoff game with 63 against the Boston Celtics. Yes, sir. Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Arnold Schopenhauer. And Arnold says, compassion is the basis of morality. You know what? That makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. Got a number of them here. We got a couple of minutes we can spend on them. Did you know that one 75-watt light bulb gives off more light than 3 25-watt light bulbs? There's an interesting thing for you, if you think about it. And did you know the word denim comes from Denims, or from Nimes, which is a town in France. Yeah, that's where denim comes from. And you know how? Here's one for you. Van Camp's pork and beans were a staple food for Union soldiers in the Civil War. Now, you got to find that a little interesting, right? When you think about it, they cooked out of those cans, they ate out of those cans, they survived out of those cans. Did you know that rhinoceros are herbivores? That's plant eaters. Yeah, vegetarians. And did you know the first train reached a top speed of only 5 miles per hour? That's a scary thought. 5 miles per hour. That was a whole lot slower. No, it's no wonder horses could catch them, right? Did you know that some 30 million Americans slave over crosswords in the newspaper, journals, and paperback books? 30 million of us? Holy cow. Give that some thought. And let me leave you with this. calcium hydroxide is really lime mixed with water. Give that some thought. But while you're thinking, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to be answering your emails. The first email that I have today is from Skylar Cisneros from Omaha, Nebraska, asking about stock sales basis. I'm going to answer all those questions and more right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back. Just hold on to that seat. I got a lot of good stuff left for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're coming down to the wire. It's time for me to answer your emails. And I'm going to get right to it. First email, as I mentioned before, is from Skylar Cisneros from Omaha, Nebraska, asking about stock sales basis. And he writes, I bought shares of stock in a company at different times and prices. Now I need to sell some before year end. Well, this obviously came in a little late. Can I pick particular shares to sell for best tax effect? If not, how do I figure the cost of those I do sell when computing the gain or loss? Well, Skylar, The general rule is that the first shares bought are deemed to be the first sold for tax purposes. So gain is going to be figured on the cost of the shares that you've held the longest. However, it is possible to select specific shares for sale. Now, to do this, you have to identify to your broker the specific shares to be sold, and the broker must provide you with a written confirmation afterward that these shares were the ones that were sold. Now, not all brokers are going to do this, so verify with your broker that he or she will do it. And then take a look at IRS publication 550. That's investment income and expenses for a lot more details. And, that'll answer your questions for you. Now, next email comes from Leon Correa from Columbus, Ohio, asking about early retirement payments and says, is it true that one can take payments from an employer's retirement plan without a penalty at age 55? Are there different rules here than for an IRA where a penalty applies before age 59 and a half? Well, Leon, the answer to your question is yes. If you terminate your employment with a firm in the year that you turn age 55 or older and leave your retirement funds in its retirement plan, you can begin to receive distributions from the plan with no premature distribution penalty whatsoever. Now, for IRAs, a premature distribution penalty generally does apply if funds are withdrawn before age 59 and a half. So, if upon terminating employment with a firm at age 55 or later, you transfer funds from its retirement plan to an IRA, you'll delay the time at which you can actually take penalty-free distributions. So keep that in mind when you're doing this planning. And always talk to a licensed professional. They're going to help you with this. Now, next email comes from Paris Andrea from Palos Verdes, California, asking about winnings in taxes and says, I won electronic equipment in a sweepstakes and sold it. I received a 1099 from the sweepstakes saying the equipment was worth much more than I actually sold it for. Now, after paying the tax, I barely come out ahead. Is there anything that I can do here? Well, you know what, Paris? The value of the prize is taxable to you, and the sweepstakes was required to issue that Form 1099, but the amount on that 1099 is not proof of the prize's actual value. If you show that you could have bought it for a lower market price, it can be taxed at that price. Now, you cannot use the price that you actually sold the equipment for as its value because a resale typically brings a lower price than an original purchase. But electronic equipment often is deeply discounted at retail, so if you can find an advertised price for the equipment in the papers or on the internet that's less than that 1099 amount, you can report that value instead. Now, this is really important. Explain the difference on your return so that you can avoid an audit, because there's going to be a matching situation there. So, you might want to talk to a professional about helping you with this. Now, my last email comes from Jordan Davis. Jordan's writing me from Brookline, Massachusetts, asking about cohabitation and divorce. And says, my wife and I are divorcing, but she wants to continue living in the same house with me. It's big enough for both of us to live in separately until she gets, a new one. If she does, can I deduct some of my home ownership costs as extra alimony? Well, Jordan, the answer to your question is no, and your deduction for the cash alimony that you pay is going to be put at risk as well. Now, the IRS does not allow an alimony deduction when former spouses live in the same household, and it considers spouses who continue to live in the same home that they formerly shared while married to be in the same household even if they physically separate themselves from each other within that household. So take a look at IRS publication 504. That's divorced or separated individuals. You'll be glad that you did that. And this is a touchy thing. And always, always, always talk to a licensed professional before you do anything here. It'll save you more money than it cost you. Now, on my next show, Sean LaFave and I are going to be talking about healthcare and current events. Please tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. The real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.